Here is part 3 of the ongoing saga of my father's life. Our family was given the dubious distinction of the meanest family in town, a label we were quite proud of. It may have come from our penchant for fighting, or maybe from the time my mom beat up the neighbor lady who had accused us kids of stealing something. My mom was also known to take the shotgun into town, looking for my dad at the nearest saloon. He seemed to get into trouble for coming home late with much less money than he left with. He would often drink with the police officers that had come by the shop to have horseshoe work done. Dad was friends with gangsters and police alike. All were welcome in our life. This friendship with the police also had its perks. When it was illegal to make your own homemade liquor, our family made their own homemade liquor, including beer. From a very young age, we were given a beer to drink while we all sat on the porch in a state of repose in the evenings. I was taught to put my bottle of beer inside the front of my overalls and just lean my head down while taking a backward swing in the rocking chair. We had it all worked out. This way, when the police came to investigate any crime of having liquor, they wouldn't see the booze. We were all taught how to hide it because you never knew when the cops would be dropping by. Although one day it became clear to me that the police, being buddies with my dad, must have been making them look the other way. My mom and I, as well as my siblings, were on the porch with our hidden beer bottles. It was a particularly warm day. As the police questioned my mother, I heard several of the fermenting beer bottles blow their caps since the heat had gotten to them. My mom contained her laughter while she visited with the cops, and they acted like they never heard those bottles popping. Us kids had our share of getting into mischief other than circus acts and drinking beer. My dad smoked but didn't want us to start too young. So the day that he came home and caught us, Bob and I, my brother, trying out his cigarettes was a day I won't forget. Dad said, "I'll teach you to hate smoking so much you'll never want to do it again." He gave each of us a whole pack and told us to smoke them all, one right after the other, hoping we'd get sick and learn our lesson. I quickly realized my mistake, but Bob was so stubborn and he decided to prove Dad wrong. Instead of them smoking them one at a time, Bob went and got his roller skates on and put the entire pack of cigarettes in his mouth and lit them all up. I can still see Bob skating around the street with all that smoke trailing behind him. You could barely see its face from all the smoke. My mother also had her fair share of antics, but not out of playfulness. Her life would not have been easy, but us kids seem to find humor in all aspects of existence. On Sunday afternoons, we'd all pile into the car and go for a drive. On one of those Sunday drives, we came upon a huge tent put up alongside the road for a revival meeting of Pentecostals. My dad had no interest in it, but my mom was curious and begged him to pull over so she could just take a look. Dad and all of us kids stayed in the car to watch as Mom slowly made her way to the edge of the tent, hoping not to be noticed. The skies were beginning to darken at sunset, and the lights at the edge of the tent were drawing insects of all kinds. We could see some of the large beetles buzzing close to the bright tent lights. The revival was in full swing with clapping, singing, and people feeling the spirit. When a person would get the spirit, they would cry out and everyone would gather around to reach out and touch them. My mom had a low, loose cut dress that served her well as she was nursing a baby at the time. One of the huge beetles flew from the edge of the tent down the top of her dress. She started screaming and jumping around to get rid of the bug. She had been totally hidden and anonymous at the edge of the crowd as she didn't want to be noticed. But now the entire group was focused on this screaming woman who had apparently received a great burst of the Spirit as never seen before. All the Pentecostals surrounded Mom and started putting their hands on her, loudly proclaiming, "She's got the Spirit, praise the Lord." That just made her scream louder and fight to get away from them more than the huge beetle in her cleavage. I've never seen Dad laugh so hard in all his life. We were howling with laughter watching the wild scene. Next time, there'll be more stories as the kids grow older and my dad goes off to join the army during World War II. Thanks for watching.